11:25 matchup starts your day on Fox. 11th ranked Creighton is home to take on number 23 UConn. And we're getting to that point of the year where we start to look at the standings and start to think about what March might look like. UConn, Seton Hall, Creighton, Villanova all vying for the top spot in the Big East standings. Second meeting between these two teams. UConn and Creighton played in the Big East opener for UConn, and it was a dandy. Damian Jefferson on December 20th with 0.2 of a second left sends the game to overtime, where the Jays go on a 9-0 run and get the 76-74 overtime win. Alongside Donnie Marshall, I'm Kevin Kugler. Welcome inside the CHI Health Center, where we hope, Donnie, that we're getting a game as compelling as that first one.
Well, the only difference, the major difference in that game was James Bouknight had 40 points. He will not be playing in this game today. So that means, where will UConn get their scoring from? It's a big question for Danny Hurley. On the other side, though, this is a team that has struggled. They've lost their last two shooting the ball. Don't think they can do that 3 times in a row. UConn has their hands full today.
Oh, there's no question about that. Let's take a look at the lineups brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee. And the hands full start with Marcus Zegarowski for the Blue Jays. For UConn, the scoring's going to have to come from a variety of sources. Tyrese Smart and Isaiah Whaley, even Tyler Polley off the bench today for UConn. But for Creighton, not only is Marcus Zegarowski going to have to provide, but Damian Jefferson has been providing.
I really believe this is a game he can put his stamp on. It's going to be wide open. His athleticism, even though UConn is long, you know, their athleticism is going to have to be the thing that they try to match when it comes to Jefferson.
Well, we are ready to get this one started. What a fun way to start our basketball Saturday on Fox. And the tip controlled by the Huskies. This is Brendan Adams who will bring it up.
Offensive sets have been fluid for Danny Hurley. It's just the consistency, and I would imagine they try to use their size advantage early and get something inside.
And they want to take their time on possessions. That's not what they're looking for, a turnover early. Danny Hurley wants to grind these possessions out, burn some shot clock. The less time Creighton has the ball in their hands, the better he's going to feel.
Well, this is a long UConn team. Even without Bouknight, they're very good on the offensive glass, 4th in the country. But offensively, it's an easy game to throw it inside. See how the defense responds there. Just, you can already see guys just uncomfortable in where they're catching the basketball.
Christian Bishop, the handoff to Denzel Mahoney. The Jays got off to a slow start on Wednesday against Providence, and that 3 no good. In the 2-game losing streak, Creighton 10 for 47 from 3. Tyrese Martin will dump it down to Whaley. Isaiah Whaley tracks it down right before the timeline. Here's Martin. He's been hot without Bouknight, but the ball knocked away, and the Jays will start it up with Mahoney.
I like the unselfishness, but I would say to Tyrese Martin, you got to score that ball. You're 5 feet away. How about a little floater?
And on the sideline, Damian Jefferson turns it back over to UConn. There's still time to enter the Fox Super 6 College Hoops Contest for a chance to win a $1,000 prize. Download the free app and answer 6 questions about the UConn-Creighton game for your chance to win. R.J. Cole to work. Wide open 3 at the top of the key, and that'll lodge for Isaiah Whaley.
Isaiah Whaley's a guy that I think's been a bright spot for UConn. His athleticism, what he does, blocking shots defensively, and he can step out and knock down a 3. I think he's going to have more of those today. I think Creighton will test him and say, hey, if you're shooting that outside, we're better off, because if you miss, we have a chance to get a rebound and go the other way.
Jays didn't see much of him in that first meeting. He fouled out after only 19 minutes of play. Mahoney will try from deep. Cannot hit. And the rebound to Brendan Adams.
A good offense. You're not going to get a better look than that.
Martin inside. And finally, the drought is broken. Slow start. Mahoney trying to get it running. And the Jays turn it over again. Greg McDermott, 11th season at the helm of the Jays. Jays have not lost consecutive home games since January of 2019. It's been 2 years since the Jays lost back-to-back home games. They lost Wednesday here against Providence.
coming. Hey, coming.
Cole working over to Martin, averaging 16 points per game since the Bouknight injury. 8 on the shot clock. Inside, Sanogo, and he took an extra step.
5 combined turnovers and only 2 points on the board total. What that tells me, Kevin, is that both teams know that they've struggled and they're trying desperately to be perfect. You can't be perfect. You have to play a natural, free-flowing game. If you have a shot, take it. You're going to make some, you're going to miss some, but if you overthink it, this is what you get.
Here's Bishop inside. That'll be a foul on Adama Sanogo. And for Sanogo, his first, team's first.
I'm all about giving up a good shot to get a great one, but the overpassing is just not natural for either of these teams. You get a good shot, we've seen it. Mahoney throws one low to the corner, turnover. Tyrese Martin at the other end. He's about 4 feet away, probably could have thrown up a floater, passes it, turnover. So right now, this is when you need to relax a little bit, do what you're supposed to do, play basketball, relax.
Mitch Bauach handing inside to Bishop, and a whistle inside. Josh Carlton just off the bench for UConn, and the 6'11" senior with his first.
Christian Bishop, another guy for Creighton that can really exploit offensively. You know, he has some size, but he has the quickness to use that against the bigger UConn players.
Zagorowski trying to get it going. 10 on the shot clock. Jefferson, penetration to the rim.
That's a tough matchup for Whaley. I mean, he really was out on an island, and when UConn struggled against St. John's, they were in those positions a lot. You have to know if there's an advantage as far as foot speed, be ready to show up for your teammate behind him.
And that's an aspect of Damian Jefferson's game you really like, isn't it, driving to the rim?
I love it. I just think he is efficient, meaning he doesn't play around with the basketball. There's no between the legs. Look at him. He's looking, he fakes towards the screen, which is a great read, and then the nice hop step through the defender coming over just a little too late, but Isaiah Whaley can't stay in front of him, and if he backs up, Jefferson can shoot the three, so be an interesting matchup to keep our eye on.
Picks up his first foul as we talk about him on the offensive end, defensively with his first, and now UConn back to work. Martin with a three, and the air ball saved and off the foot of Zagorowski. Heads up play by Josh Carlton.
The things you look for if you're Danny Hurley, again, we mentioned they played one game since the 11th, and that was a loss against St. John's Monday, is just toughness and hustle. You know, those are things that you want to stand a guy up when you say toughness. Be ready to stand in and take a charge. Dive on the floor for loose balls. Those little things do more for your team, possession to possession, than we imagine as a player. They really do, and coaches know that.
Coach McDermott not thrilled with the pause, put an extra second on the shot clock at 8. Martin on the attack, driving into the teeth of the defense. Back tap, they've got 2 to shoot, gonna have to hoist it from deep. And the offensive rebound by Carlton.
That's just what they do. They do a tremendous job, UConn, of keeping their eye on the ball as the shot goes up. The poor rebounding teams just turn and hope the ball comes off to them.
39% of UConn's misses end up in their hands. It's a remarkable number. Carlton, tough catch. And that's a turnover. Make it now 6 combined turnovers between the two teams. And the glass cleaners, known as the UConn Huskies, doing it again.
Well, if you're Creighton, you know what? You got to live with a couple of those. But you got
for the Huskies, offense has been harder to come by without that young man, James Bouknight, the 6'5" sophomore who injured his elbow at Marquette on January 5th. He had elbow surgery, and when we were talking with Dan Hurley before the game, he said, you know, 4 to 6 weeks from surgery date is what was expected before the return of James Bouknight. Well, if you're a UConn fan, you'd love to see him back sooner, but this is what we've seen from the guys who've tried to fill that void in scoring since he left the lineup.
And the difficult thing for them now is to say, okay, I'm going to now handle the ball more. I'm going to take tougher shots. If you're R.J. Cole, handle the ball much more. Tyrese Martin, take tougher shots, and Tyler Polley stepping back and taking those threes that Bouknight has left out there. It's a hard transition in the middle of the season. I will say, though, for UConn fans, not only are they looking to see where it will come from, they're looking at their calendars from the day and trying to find out when the surgery happened for Bouknight, because they want him and need him back.
Jefferson off the fake will drive inside. Again, the scoop and the foul sends him to the line.
Carbon copy. I mean, but why change it? Here you go again. Whaley running at him. Nice little hop step through the teeth of the defense. The swing pass. Love skip passes. You don't see that a lot in college basketball, and probably because defenses are really good and you have some length, but that's a terrific skip pass, and that's exactly when you want to rip that through and go when the defense is trying to catch up.
Free throw is good. Second foul on Josh Carlton, so a little trouble for UConn in the front court already. Adama Sanogo back on the floor for the Huskies.
I really like Sanogo. I think he just needs more reps, more touches. He's got great footwork around the basket.
They're already a little thin up front, Donnie. No Akuk today. Injured a shin in practice this week, and he will not go. The three from Brendan Adams, a little strong. Long rebound. It's Adams who gets it done again, and Adams can't get it. Tip try, no. Another opportunity inside. Look at UConn crashing the glass, and finally the Jays get their first rebound of the game.
This is just, I mean, UConn is doing what they do on the offensive glass. 2 offensive rebounds there.
Foul on the drive as Denzel Mahoney is bumped by Tyrese Martin, who picks up his first personal foul.
You know, I will say, you know, Creighton has not seen a team obviously like this on the offensive glass, but so that just means, look, you don't have to be the strongest guy in the world. The smallest guy on the floor can do this. Just get in front of a bigger guy and walk back. Just 1, maybe 2 steps. That could be the difference in an offensive rebound or a defensive rebound.
Nice move by Zegarowski with a left hand. He'll go to the line for one more. Jays making a concerted effort to attack the middle against this UConn team, especially now with Josh Carlton on the bench with 2 fouls.
Creighton's 0 for 3 from the field, from 3, and this area right here is going to be where you're going to find the weak spot. You talked about it. You're a little thin. You're UConn up front. You don't want that extra foul trouble. But they have the ability, Creighton, to put the ball on the floor. At times where they get into trouble, Kevin, is when they're over-dribbling. Got to be efficient.
R.J. Cole with his first foul a moment ago. Whaley will enter it to Sanogo. Working against Kalkbrenner. Back it goes on the wing for the 3, and the air ball out of bounds. Last touch by the Jays. UConn 2 for 11 from the floor to start this game. Jays 3 for 6. As the bench will be utilized, and into the game comes one of the hottest Huskies, Tyler Polley, averaging 15 points per game over the last 4. When Bouknight went out, it was Tyler Polley who took over in the big comeback at Marquette. He had 23 second-half points in that game to lead UConn to a huge come-from-behind win on the road. Adams looking baseline. That pull-up won't go. Rebound poked free of the hands of Sanogo by Sharif Mitchell, and it'll stay with UConn. Now the rebounding margin, UConn 3rd in the Big East at over 5 per game on the positive side. The Jays are not a great rebounding team, and it's 11-1 on the boards right now as Kalkbrenner gets a piece of the Sanogo shot.
In that first matchup, UConn had 15 offensive rebounds, but it only led to 12 second chance points. So when you look at the score, you say, okay, look, we gave up some offensive rebounds, but we still have a lead if you're Creighton, and that means you're getting back doing the job defensively, even though UConn is dominating offensive board.
Yeah, 8 offensive rebounds for UConn and only 2 second chance points for the Huskies. So that trend from December continuing into this game.
And for coaches, they see a number, and that number just jumps out at you off the page. But the most important number is what you see on the scoreboard. You know, at the end of the day, but you're trying to tell your guys it could be so much easier for us if we could just get a body in front. And for UConn, if we just get putbacks, if we run our stuff to completion after we earn that offensive rebound.
Sanogo working against Kalkbrenner again, turns with the right-hand hook. That's a nice move by Adama Sanogo.
He is special. If they give him touches and time and space, most importantly, he'll get you something good.
Well, Dan Hurley challenged him a little bit this week, said, I want him to impose his drive. I want him to show how determined he is to get things done in the post. Ballot number 3. He's been cold of late. 0 for 8 in the 2-game losing streak from behind the arc.
Really nothing came of that set right there. Again, over-dribbling a little bit. Now you run the clock down and you're forced to shoot over the top of a 6'11", 7'5" wingspan.
Right back to Sanogo again. Working his way into the paint. Tough fadeaway for Sanogo. Good defense by the Jays. They had Ballot come over on that double to show.
All you have to do for young players is just show up, and even if you don't reach in, they see you, it's going to make them turn.
It's a tough pass from Sharif Mitchell, and the turnover gets it going the other way for UConn. R.J. Cole into traffic, and that's spiked out of bounds by Antoine Jones.
Really good defensive sets for Creighton. They're standing in there, they're giving their bodies up, and they're not reaching. And the difference here is he sees help in the middle, goes over that left shoulder, but the 2 dribbles and the drag dribble and then turning over the left shoulder. The next time, though, Ballot came sooner, just enough to distract Sanogo.
Yeah, the difference being the hook versus a fadeaway in the lane, and the different result. Ollie right out on him, Sharif Mitchell, who's been battling a sore ankle. Jalen Gaffney, 7 on the shot clock to Cole. Into the paint, Cole's shot no, but he's going to the line for a pair of free throws after the foul on Marcus Zagorowski, his first.
And R.J. Cole is one of those guys that can be explosive, scored a lot of points in his career at Howard. And you know, he's missing his partner too in Book Night because he would have more open shots. He'd have easier drives to the basket because people were focused on James Book Night, and now he's in a different role. I will say this is only going to help these UConn players knowing with life without James Book Night once he comes back.
Well, you talk about getting a guy like that for the stretch run in your first year back in the Big East Conference. That's it's like making a big trade at the trade deadline. Yeah. You pick up a guy who's averaging 20 points per game, and had he played enough games this year, he would be the leading scorer in the Big East Conference. Well, let's just pick him up for February and into March. And make no mistake, this UConn team, as constituted with Book Night and right this second, they're an NCAA tournament team.
Without question. Without question. They do a lot of really good things, and they're playing in a terrific conference. That helps.
That's the second on Adama Sanogo. So now real big foul trouble for the Bigs for UConn. Sanogo with 2, Carlton with 2, a cook not available today to help out up front, the 6'9" sophomore. So you've got some real issues, and in comes Isaiah Whaley.
Because whatever happened to small ball? All these teams are going big now, especially in the Big Ten. Everyone wants to be big. They got these giant players, but what happened to small ball? I think we're going to see some of that if this game continues this trend.
I think small ball is the future of this basketball game anyway. UConn and Creighton knotted up early in Omaha. Evacuate the city as quickly as possible.
Hightailing it.
Yeah, snowstorm making its way in. 8-8, 11:52 remaining in the first half. And the Jays, who are the let it fly Jays, they've tried to let it fly, but it hasn't been going in the bucket the last couple of games.
In this game today, there have been a lot of forced shots, and I think because there's some over-dribbling, trying to find something better, that now you look up and the shot clock is low and you have to just get something up. But that's the hardest part about basketball, is when you're struggling shooting, to let it come to you, you know, because our natural instinct is to force it. We're going to fight our way out of this. And for the Jays, they have the pieces to be able to get out of it, but you can't force it. You can't start to steer it and overthink it.
Yeah, that trend has continued today. They're 3 for 3 from 2, 0 for 5 from 3 as Mahoney rejected by Tyler Polley. 3 on the shot clock for the Jays.
These are tough matchups. We've seen that even, for Mahoney against the bigger teams. He's really had a difficult time trying to navigate around the length. Providence, another team that he had struggled with earlier in this season, but he's a good enough player to be able to figure it out.
Officials, they're going to tee up Dan Hurley. They wanted the bench to sit down. He then argued that the Creighton bench should sit down, and he continued to talk, and the conversation heated up, and Brent Hampton finally issued the technical foul.
I will say Brent Hampton is one of those officials. He's an older, he's a young guy, but he has that old school feel where if we're talking basketball, that's fine, we can disagree. But anytime he feels like it gets personal or a little bit too overly animated, he's going to let you know.
Zagorowski on the year, an 82% free throw shooting. See it again, he's still at the top of the screen.
Yeah, listen, he's a former player and a fiery player, man. And listen, he's been in a situation where he's trying to get the most out of his team without their star. He's trying to fire them up and infuse that toughness and belief in themselves. And sometimes maybe a technical is the best way to do it in game.
Well, he asked his team this week to be more passionate, to have more communication and conversations. One of the things he was really upset about with what happened in the St. John's game, he said they were just more lively than we were, and a foul is called on the inbound to Bishop. Tyler Polley whistled for the foul. And maybe that's one of the ways he can find a way on court to inject a little extra fire in his team.
We've been in this building a lot the last 7, going out to 8 years now in the Big East. And I would tell Dan Hurley, this is the time you want that to happen, because when this building is full,
yeah, exactly.
it is. They will remind you every single play down the floor the entire game. So this is the best time to have that happen.
Yeah, about 10% capacity at CHI Health Center in Omaha right now. And I will say, maybe it's just because you and I have been in so many empty arenas this year, it sounds louder than 10% in this building. So the 10% they brought in were asked to cheer louder to make up for the other 90%.
I will say you're not going to find a better building in America when it's full, and you won't find a better building in America when it's 10% full. You just won't. And it's early. This is an early game for these players. The fans, they would probably be in here if it was 6 a.m.
There's no question. Mitch Ballack with the foul, his first. R.J. Cole back to Whaley. Whaley against Mahoney. Couldn't get it to fall, and the rebound out of bounds to the Jays.
It was a good move by Isaiah Whaley. Did a great job of not traveling, just couldn't get the shot to go down.
Hand off to Jefferson. Will he attack again? Yes, he will, but travel and another Creighton turnover. 4 for Creighton, 4 for UConn. The two teams are combined shooting 6 of 26 from the floor in this first half.
That was a very good defensive stop with help behind you from R.J. Cole that they didn't get a lot against St. John's.
Tyrese Martin down the lane. Bishop waiting. Martin with the offensive putback.
It's a struggle now for UConn because that ball is stagnant, and then they're trying to go one-on-one.
Ballack, there's the three. Breaks the seal that's been on the rim for Mitch Ballack, his first make in 10 attempts. Gaffney trying to answer. Well short. Mahoney to run for Creighton. Ballack hoping he found the rhythm, but he comes up short on that one. Whaley with the board.
I would say Mitch Ballock with someone in his face is a better option than anyone on this team wide open. Not that other guys can't shoot, but I would love for Mitch Ballock to be more selfish for the team in shooting the ball. He's that good of a shooter.
Tyler Polley, 9 to shoot. He'll try from deep. That one dies. Ballock will start it up. Mahoney launching, and Mahoney hitting.
The seal is broken.
2 for 8 now from 3 for the Blue Jays. UConn 0 for 7. R.J. Cole, 8 on the shot clock. Tough one for Whaley. 4 to shoot and a foul. Christian Bishop picks up his first, team's 5th.
The obvious difference in these last 2 shots are that they went in. But I will say the catch and shoot there out of the offensive set, better than a forced one. Then again, the spacing. You know, the quick hitter, Kevin, it's not a dribble more, and then, oh, shoot, I got to get this thing up. There's only 3 seconds left. That was out of some offensive sets in transition. Just a much better way to get your shot up.
Creighton on a 9-2 run since the technical foul on Dan Hurley.
Fired up the wrong team.
10 to shoot for Gaffney. Adams, open is Gaffney. He'll launch, and he'll hit. That's a huge shot for UConn and for Jalen Gaffney, who's just 4 of 15 from 3 this year. Kalkbrenner running to the rim, and a foul is called. Brendan Adams with his first.
It's interesting how easy this game is, and as players, how difficult we make it. You know, when you run your stuff, you get 2 or 3 passes, the defense shifts side to side or sideline to sideline, east to west I like to call it. You get open shots, you're not under duress, and both teams have in the last couple of possessions figured that out. Keep your space, move the basketball, good things happen.
One more for the freshman post who loves microeconomics, and really who doesn't love microeconomics. Sometimes you just take it a second time because it was so fun the first. 1 for 2 for Kalkbrenner as Tyrese Martin will start it up to Jalen Gaffney.
Now this is a game for UConn where it has to be played in the 60s. If this game gets up into the 70s, it's really hard for them to find those extra points.
Almost the turnover. Ballock had it hit his hand and out of bounds.
And I think UConn's capable of keeping this game in the 60s with their defense. You know, you walk the ball up. The only problem is when you walk that ball up, sometimes you're going to have to take some chances. You know, I would say you got to zhuzh it up. You know, you can't.
How do you spell that?
Zhuzh.
Zhuzh?
Yeah, you work on it and we'll talk in the break. But it's got to be fancy a little bit. You know, you got to take some chances, zhuzh it up. Make it, it can't get stale and stagnant, even though you're trying to control the pace.
Point out a zhuzh when you see it, would you? So I know?
Yep.
All right. Mahoney, the 3. That's good. Is that zhuzh?
Because it came off of the right-handed pass from a left-handed player to the corner. That's zhuzhing it up.
Okay, all right.
Now UConn has to figure out how to do that.
Yes, Creighton took the lesson you were offering for UConn and applied it to their own game. Now the roll inside, extra pass to Tyrese Martin. 10 on the shot clock. Martin baseline, the dunk down low, the shot won't go, and the rebound ripped away by Adams. His shot off. Man.
They fight, but again, they're having a hard time paying off all that work on the offensive glass.
Whaley 0 for 5, Adams 0 for 5, Polley 0 for 2, UConn 5 of 25 from the floor. Kalkbrenner against Whaley. Left hand hook, good. The freshman showing some skills down low.
Kalkbrenner, great position. allowed him to get that shot off with plenty of space over the right hand, the right shoulder. How about this? Zhuzh it up. Creighton. McDermott loves it. Marcus gotta like it, and then UConn trying to figure out how to find their Zhuzh.
The strength of some better offense. Now 50% shooting. They've hit 3 threes in this surge. A 6-0 run that has UConn down 10 now, 23-13.
And making one shot off of a good offensive set gives you energy to play defense, and that's what Creighton has done the last 5 minutes or so.
Oh, and running the floor, Bishop, an offensive foul. Second foul for Bishop, 16th foul, and the first foul trouble for the Blue Jays.
You don't mind it. You just want it under a little bit better control. The pass probably wasn't great, so once you reach back for that, you're trying to focus on the catch, and then almost like he had his mind made up that he was going to pass it. A little out of control, but they're playing hard.
Reached back for it. He tried to sidle by the body in the lane. Couldn't sidle him. And Bishop sits down 23-13. Jays with the 10-point advantage. Where will the offense come from for UConn right now? Everybody cold wearing Husky uniforms. Here's Carlton back out there with 2 personal fouls. The running hook rebounded by Antoine Jones.
Great D. You got a big running across, trying to throw up a running hook, but he's going towards your bench. I mean, that's what you teach. If that offensive player is going to turn, don't let him go towards the basket. Another great defensive set there for Creighton.
And Isaiah Whaley with a foul on the other end, sending Antoine Jones to the line. The transfer from Memphis, who started off well, but has really struggled offensively of late. Just 2 points each of the last 2 games for the Blue Jays. And one of the things that Greg McDermott said he needs from this young man, not that young man, Mitch Ballard, but the previous young man, Antoine Jones, is he needs him to make plays for others. He says, we need to get his focus on getting other guys shots and being active for everybody else on the floor. They love his athleticism, they love his basketball IQ and what he can do for him out there. And he's a guy who can really help you if you're one of the other 4 guys around him too.
If UConn is passing the ball 5, 6, 7 times, and they're getting that ball to under 10 seconds, but they only have 1 assist. It goes into the post, and then now they rely on their bigs to make a move, and they haven't paid it off.
Ball loose and a shot clock violation. No one secured it before the horn goes off, and Creighton's defense strong once more.
And there's a fine line, too. Is it great defense or poor offense? You know, I think it's, and unfortunately for UConn, it's a little both. You know, Creighton has figured out how to stand in. They're picking their spots. Okay, we're going to make Carlton go one-on-one. We're going to stop the guards. We're going to be there to help. And for UConn, it's they run something to about 8 seconds and then throw it inside. You have to get something coming off of some screens, some misdirection, catch and shoots, and right now no one on UConn looks to me to be willing to kind of say, hey, get on my back. I'm going to take some shots here and I'm going to get us going. And that's what happens when you're down your stud.
I was going to say, that's the role that James Bouknight plays for this team right now. You need somebody to carry you. He's the guy you look to, and now not there with that elbow injury from early January. Antoine Jones trickles into the hands of Sharif Mitchell. There's Mitchell on the attack. The floater well short, and it'll go out of bounds off the leg of Kalkbrenner.
So the almost one of the things that's hindering UConn is that they're doing a great job getting stops, but now it's a dead ball situation, and Creighton has a chance to set their defense up. When they get those live ball turnovers, that can help fuel their offense. because they're really struggling in the half court against this defense when it's a come down, set it up, and try to run some stuff.
And 5 minutes left in the first half, just 13 points on the board for UConn. And it's the top scoring offense against the top scoring defense in the Big East today, but defense has been the bigger story in this first half. 5 on the shot clock, leaving for Sanogo, and that is a travel.
And it's just an uncomfortable situation. You throw it to him about 10, 12 feet out, and now he's on the move trying to figure out, okay, how do I, and he really does have terrific feet. You won't see him in a hop step situation, and you shouldn't have to, a guy that size.
Turnover number 6 for UConn. Zagorowski finds a wide open Denzel Mahoney. The 3 is not good.
This is where you have to score for UConn.
And they do with the elbow jumper.
It's a different game for them right now. In transition, you get a stop, now you start running. Versus that dead ball, stop, and then go. Creighton's too good to get set up defensively when you give him time.
Well, sometimes it just takes one bucket. Maybe that's the bucket that gets UConn going again as Mahoney answers, and he'll go to the line for one more. Tyrese Martin with his second.
That's a good matchup, too. You got 2 strong guys. He's just flat-footed. You know, you have to know when guys are struggling a little bit, you give them a little bit more space. And then you contest late. There, Tyrese Martin just was up a little too close, and Mahoney recognized it and put it on the floor.
Real foul trouble right now for UConn. Sanogo 2, Martin 2, Carlton 2.
I think UConn's going to have to start taking some shots. Again, they want to play this game in the 60s, but you have to get to 60, you know? And I think that's what Danny Hurley is afraid of. Who do we go to get to 60?
Sanogo may be the guy they go to for a while. Antoine Jones with the foul takes us to a timeout. 10-point game in this first half. Some Big East news and notes. Will Villanova pull away? They play after us on Fox against Providence this afternoon. 4-0 in Big East games. Everybody else with at least 2 losses. Julian Champagnie. And how about this? A family affair. Julian Champagnie leads the Big East in scoring. His brother Justin is the ACC leading scorer. How often do you see twins, not only great basketball players, but leading 2 major conferences in scoring? And tonight, 6 Eastern on FS1, it's DePaul Marquette. As Marquette tries to get themselves back in the conversation, and DePaul just continues to try to find a rhythm after the long layoff.
We need some of those feel-good stories this season.
Yes,
you know?
we do.
We really do. We're in dire need of them. I love that both those Champagnies are terrific players, great size, athleticism. Who do you root for, though, if you're the parents? You know, like what if they meet and then how do you do the split uniform?
Now you're using all these speculative things. Yeah, they're in different major conferences. You can root for St. John's and Pitt. You just tell the athletic directors of the respective schools do not schedule each other during this time.
I'm thinking split uniform.
You're putting a lot of thought into this hypothetical situation, and there's a foul battling for the rebound. A rebounding battle that is being dominated by the UConn Huskies, 24-10 on the glass in favor of UConn in this ball game, and yet they're down by 8 points.
Now, when you have keys to the game, and I thought for Creighton it was 1, limit your turnovers. They've done that. They only have 6 or 5 right now. They've done a great job there. Gang rebound, okay, they're not winning that one. That means everyone crashed the glass. You're losing that one.
Yep,
but
that one's not happening.
The third one is 50-50 balls. You know, get on the floor. Let's dig those out. Let's fight. And I think they've won 2 out of 3 of those, and that's why the score is what it is.
Damian Jefferson sits down with his second foul. That's something to note in the final 3:19 of this first half. Jefferson, especially early, was an offensive catalyst for the Bluejays. Cole with 1 more free throw. He's got 5 so far this afternoon. Six-point game, 25-19. Creighton's largest lead was 10 just 40 seconds ago. And a takeaway. Carlton, big man on the run all the way to the rim and misses badly.
Great hustle by Mitch Ballock. Just getting back defensively, and that happens when you turn it over. You try to make up for your mistake very quickly, and he did that.
Here's R.J. Cole. Good look inside. Carlton a little better finish this time.
The spacing was much better, but look when they scored. It wasn't down the stretch with 3 seconds on the shot clock. You got to get into that offense a little bit quicker, and you'll have those opportunities. Spacing was terrific.
Mahoney pushed out. And that's a travel and a turnover right back to UConn, and momentum shifting sides here in Omaha.
Well, Creighton's done a great job of gumming things up, but what they've done, and this is the miss. This is great hustle by Ballock. But Carlton stays with it, and look at the roll, the swing, the roll. That's good offense there. Just much better offense, and now there's only 10 seconds off the shot clock instead of 22.
6-0 run for the Huskies. Looking to add to it here. Adams on the attack. 9 to shoot for Cole. Turning the corner. In the corner. Adams for 3. And it's a one-point ball game in Omaha. 9 straight for the Huskies. Mahoney attacking. And Mahoney breaks the UConn run with a strong take to the rim.
Put that shoulder down and knew exactly what he wanted to do. I got to give UConn a lot of credit. If you said to them, we're going to be shooting 26% in this building with 1:20 to play, they'd be like, okay, we're getting killed. Next thing you know, here we are, they're down 1.
Well, it's the one bucket by R.J. Cole that really started to turn this offense around, as Kalkbrenner will go to the line after the foul inside. Brendan Adams with his second.
That's just a little bit too much help by Mitch Ballock, and the perfect find. I think that UConn is at their best, even without James Bouknight, when they space the floor and they give each other some room to either make a play for themselves or read what the defense will do and then find guys. I think they trust one another enough to know that if I'm open, you're going to pass it to me. I really believe they have that trust, and that's not the easiest thing to come by for college players. In order to trust one another, especially this time of year, and when we've been up and down and stop and go and injuries.
Well, and remember, they have played 3 games total since Bouknight went out with the injury in nearly a month. This is not a team that's had 3 games a week to get used to the new way things are. They're still trying to figure out exactly who's going to step up on any given day. 3-point game. Holly with 5 to shoot. Now they got to figure out what they're going to do. Cole on the attack. Cole's the spin, and Cole's jumper falls. That shot was not even close to going in the first 10 minutes of this game.
They milked every ounce of that clock, and when it gets to that point, R.J. Cole's a guy you want to have the ball in his hands.
It took overtime to decide a winner when these two teams met in December. Didn't look like it was headed that direction here. Well, we've got a 1-point game. Zegarowski with 5 on the shot clock. Here's Mahoney. Mahoney's jumper will not go. UConn with a chance for the lead, and the heat will not count. Halftime arrives. 1-point game. Dan Hurley delighted with the response from his young Huskies.
They fought. That's all he's been asking. I just want them to give me some toughness and fight. Look, it wasn't pretty, but we got a game.
29-28. Creighton with a 1-point lead, but it was the play of R.J. Cole turning things around for UConn. He's got 10 first-half points. We'll send you to Kevin Burkhardt in Los Angeles for the Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report right after this. You're watching Big East basketball on Fox. the offensive glass. One of the reasons UConn has been able to work back in against the Blue Jays, and another reason has been the play of R.J. Cole.
I really love this player. He scored over 1,500 points in 2 years, 2 college seasons at Howard. He can put the ball in the basket. He's the guy that I really believe Danny Hurley has leaned on to say, hey, we need some buckets, man. You got to run the team. He's got his hands full. Run the team, get guys in their spots, and, oh, by the way, we need you to score.
And he did score, put points on the board, 10 points in that first half, 3 for 5 field goals. And it was his bucket that really sparked a UConn rally, Donnie Marshall, because UConn's offense was going nowhere. R.J. Cole got it started. Then he got it started for other players as well.
I will say, though, Kevin, the rebounding, it wears you down. And I think it's worn Creighton down a little bit. UConn is doing what they're supposed to be doing. They haven't paid it off, but every board they get, it's damaging to Creighton and what they're trying to do on that end of the floor. For Creighton, though, the other way, they just have to continue to run their stuff, stay space, and that guy right there, he's had some up and downs lately, but he's got 10 points. They have to get on his back. He's got an advantage. He's got strength. He's got that size, and the bucket will open up for him. Those shots will start to fall from the outside.
UConn last led this ball game at 4-2. They start the second half with a chance to grab the lead on the first offensive possession.
First couple possessions very important for both teams. Out of the locker room, no one has really kind of put their stamp on this game yet in the first half.
Trying to feed it down low to Whaley, and out of bounds off the Jays. 8 on the shot clock for Dan Hurley's squad.
And here we are again, under 10. And now you start to press a little bit. You start to speed up, and Creighton should have the advantage right now.
There's Martin sizing up Balak. Jumper, no, but he'll go to the line with a chance to take the lead for UConn on the foul for Balak, his second.
And the reason I say Creighton had the advantage there is because UConn hasn't really shown this season that they have a guy who can go get you a bucket when it's a short clock. Bouknight is that guy, but with the guys you see, Tyrese Martin has had to be that guy, and the way he does it is not really with the dribble or the fancy ball handling, but what you saw there with the strength and the hang and trying to finish.
No James Bouknight, 40 points when these two teams played at Gamble Pavilion back in December.
He's special.
He is a very special player. His team hanging around on the road and leads for the first time since it was 4-2.
And I would say guys like James Bouknight don't come around a lot, but at UConn, and that's kind of what we did.
Is that what you did?
When I was there, that's what we did. Yeah, every other year we gotta, not to toot our own horn.
Here we go. Yep.
But no, he is really special. You can tell they're missing him big time because it's not as easy for them to get buckets.
Christian Bishop leaning on Sanogo. 2 to shoot. Tough fade away. Really good defense by Sanogo and the rest of that UConn team.
Yeah, you're so right when you say the rest of the team, because it was before that point that forced Bishop to have to take a tough one over Sanogo.
Adams will turn the corner, leaving it for Whaley. He wanted to pull the trigger.
He's got to shoot that. You got 14 on the clock. Why not?
Cole will shoot it. And the rebound tipped in the air to Jefferson. Creighton down 1. Jefferson to the rim. Bucket and a foul.
He's tough in the half court. He's tough in transition, but picking up a guy is the hardest thing to do because you're yelling, you're talking. Goes by Adams, and Whaley is nowhere. That's when your big has to step back when he sees that guard put his head down and try to help at the rim.
Brendan Adams with his third, and that's how the half started in the first half for the Blue Jays. It was Damian Jefferson who really sparked the offense to an initial start when neither team really got it going in the first 3 minutes. Jefferson's drives to the basket were what got Creighton going.
And you and I talked before the game about this could be potentially a good game for him because it could be wide open, and he's got the length and that strength and athleticism against some of the smaller UConn guards.
There's Whaley at the foul line. No hesitation that time on the shot. Catch and shoot, and we're tied at 32. Balak off the fake, and that'll be a foul on Tyler Polley. His second, team's second.
And usually, you know, when you step out, I think Ballack down here he lost a little bit of vision. He was, you know, he's always been his entire career an over helper, which you don't mind that, but you have to know the personnel. And I think he thought maybe Whaley, he's not going to pop out the shoot because no one's really been that aggressive, and it made him pay. And there's your guy. You know, when you make a couple going to the basket, a couple layups, we said that at half, that basket's going to open up for you.
Denzel Mahoney with 13 now in the ball game. He's been in double figures 25 of his 35 games in a Creighton uniform. Started his career at Southeast Missouri State. Pretty good production from that transfer to the Blue Jays as Polley tries to answer. Offensive rebound, Sanogo. Sanogo against Bishop. And Ballack will start it up for the Blue Jays. Long pass to Bishop, and Bishop trying to keep it in play. He cannot. Look at Sanogo. Nimble, end to end, the big man, and he took one too many steps.
Yeah, he's got to give that ball up. But I will say a guard has to be running as fast as he is to come to him and say, hey, big fella, I'm right here. I'm ready to give it up, and you'll get it back.
He grew up playing soccer. That reminded him of his soccer days, just running free down the court. Mahoney, good find. Bishop for traffic to clear.
Spacing is so important. Whether you're shooting threes, trying to get something easy underneath.
This crowd trying to make an impact here in Omaha. Sanogo, Bishop on top of him. Count the bucket. He'll go to the line for one more.
Well, when your coach yells at you the time before, you gotta try to do something to get it back. Bishop never, ever have your back to the basketball. And he does a really good job here. You'll see Bishop is he's going to roll into here, and there's so much space because Sanogo gets caught up top. Great misdirection there, and again, spacing helps that.
Free throw is good for Sanogo. There was a thought in his recruiting process that his college career was going to be spent in the state of Nebraska. He was a high-profile target for Fred Hoiberg and the Huskers 50 miles down the road in Lincoln. But UConn made a late push, and they were able to secure him. And boy, they're delighted to have him in their post as that one will fall, and one more at the line.
We talk about it all the time. You never want to foul a three-point shooter, and I'm telling you, this confuses me. How a three-point shooter can foul another three-point shooter. There are just some things that should not happen in basketball. If you live behind that line like Tyler Polley does, he has to know better than anyone on the floor when to contest and when to run by a guy, because it happens to him all the time. You can't foul him.
It'll stay on this end of the floor. Blue Jays keep it with a 5-point advantage. Inbound from Zagorowski for Creighton. They've hit their last 4 shots. The offense starting to heat up for the best scoring offense in the league. Ballack's 3 pinballs out to Sanogo.
They got into that set late. Ballack ran to his spot after the count had already started. Then he had to run back to the corner.
Sanogo, quick shot up and in. Boy, he's talented. Yeah, I was going to say soft hands, and that touch by Sanogo. He's got 9. And right on the other end, the answer for Denzel Mahoney. Playing a tremendous ball game offensively on a day that's been hard to find the offense.
I think he's keeping it simple. You know, he catches it in the corner. Nice little shot fake. Couple dribble pull up, mid-range. Don't overthink it.
5-point game. Martin looking inside to Sanogo, and a foul is going to be called. This will be Kalkbrenner, who picks up his first and sends us to a timeout. Good tussle in Omaha this afternoon. everywhere on the floor.
You're right. I mean, we're showing you just in the building is his range. I mean, look how deep these are. Anytime you're around a logo on the floor, any of those logos out on the perimeter are deep shots, and that's why. Part of that is why Greg McDermott wants him to be more selfish, shoot more. Look, there were a couple things. I was a hard-headed player, but if you told me to keep shooting, you'd only have to tell me once.
Right.
Only one time.
He's a nice kid from Kansas. He's got those Midwestern sensibilities.
Man, oh man.
Inbound, tough one to catch for R.J. Cole. In the corner, finds an open Isaiah Whaley for three.
He's got that range. And you know, the recognition to find him out of the timeout, those are huge plays, especially when you're down, to pay him off.
Hasn't attempted many this year. Whaley just 7 attempts now with the 2 today. Kalkbrenner inside against Sanogo, just muscled that through the defense.
And once he gets to that point, you can't be just reaching in. And when coaches say get your work done early, that means to push him off the box before he catches it, and they didn't do that there.
4-point Creighton lead. Cole, a little floater short. And the Jays with the rebound to Jefferson. Gaffney the other way. Creighton doing a better job on the glass in the early stages of this second half, even on the boards, after the dominance by UConn in the first half and the hold inside, preventing Sanogo from getting to that one as the second foul on Kalkbrenner.
When UConn has been really good in the half court, they've attacked and been more aggressive when that shot clock is in the teens. You know, when they struggle is when it gets really low, under 5.
Oh, nice spin by Whaley, left the shot short. Rebound kicked out, and UConn gets a second chance.
Got a great shot. It was 19 seconds on that shot clock.
Sanogo in all kinds of trouble. Look at the recovery by a freshman big man with all kinds of traffic.
13 seconds on the shot clock.
Yep.
You have to go a little bit quicker. And now what they're trying to do is trying to get the defense to get a little stagnant or slow catching up. But the longer that clock goes, the better Creighton is.
Here's Zegarowski. Sanogo showed briefly, finds Mahoney for the open look, rims out to R.J. Cole. Donnie mentioned it earlier, Cole transferring in from Howard, sat out last season, and you know he wanted to sit out. This was his dream school. Came to UConn Hoops Camp when Jim Calhoun was the coach at the age of 9. Didn't get the offer. Finally got a chance to come here, sat out, waiting his time out to get onto the floor, and you know how delighted he must be to wear that UConn uniform. Zegarowski will start it up, does not have numbers, doesn't care, loping to the rim, and the finger roll won't go out of bounds to UConn. Now R.J. Cole, there's the picture. He took the picture with Coach at age 9, then he becomes a UConn Husky, and Coach Calhoun there to take a picture again for a young man who always dreamt of wearing that UConn uniform. What a delight it must be to finally live out that dream.
How does Coach Calhoun look exactly the same?
You'd have thought that a few years with you would have worn him out.
No kidding. Well, it definitely did. That was after, obviously. Boy, oh boy, he looked great.
And out of bounds to Creighton. Look at that.
What kind of vitamins is he? He looks the same. Ageless.
And that smile, you never saw that when Donnie Marshall was the the attention from Jim Calhoun.
They were sarcastic smiles. They were there. They were just sarcastic. Yeah.
Is that what they were? Is that what you told yourself?
Yeah.
Years? Coach was really sarcastic with you today, Donnie.
That's where I learned it.
2-point ball game with Zegarowski navigating for the Blue Jays. Skip pass to Mitchell. Mitchell inside, traveled with it. Right over number 9.
You either catch and shoot that, or you put it down once or twice and pull up. You know, you've already kind of got the defense playing catch up both ways, on the swing and then on the chase as you dribble. And now what are you looking for? You know.
Antoine Jones checking in. Damian Jefferson will leave for Creighton. Tyrese Martin leaves for UConn as Brendan Adams returns. Adams with 3 fouls back on the floor. Jalen Gaffney walks it up. Here's Martin attacking down the left side of the lane, goes to the right side and finishes. Very nice work by Tyrese Martin.
Don't want to beat a dead horse. 13 seconds on the clock when he attacked. It's so important for them to get into their offensive set sooner and then to stay aggressive before you get to that, okay, gosh, we got to get something up quick here. To higher percentage shots, the sooner you go, at least in the teens on the shot clock for UConn.
Carlton's 3rd foul. Bishop sits down. Kalkbrenner back on the floor. Going for the steal. Gaffney couldn't rip it away.
Good help by Adams, though, to step up. So his teammate was in some trouble.
Adams still on Zegarowski. Double shows briefly as Zegarowski will attack Adams. Gets it all the way to the rim, and it dances around it home.
Good defense, better offense. It's just how it is.
Here's R.J. Cole. Mitchell, tough defender to work against. Gaffney will split, dumps it down. Carlton is fouled. Timeout on the floor and a tight ball game.
Zegarowski quiet today. He's got 7. 2 big ones here.
St. John's. It all tips off next Sunday at 1 Eastern and continues at 3:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Well, I want to point something out. Someone special we lost at the University of Connecticut. Donald D. Rowe was a coach at UConn. I mean, he was just was a coach at Worcester Academy. 69-77 was when he was at UConn, but the team is wearing a patch that says D. He passed away on January 10th, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. He was the godfather of UConn basketball, and lost his wife a few years back, Jenny. They were college sweethearts, but he was very instrumental in my life. And everyone whoever had a conversation with D. Rowe, you felt that you could feel his love and his passion for the game of basketball, and he was something special. Lost him on January 10th, and he'll always be with everyone who's ever been associated with UConn. Really miss him.
Well, and you know the UConn family will miss him for a long time. Tie ball game, 11-17 and counting here in this second half as Sharif Mitchell will work it up. Bishop spinning on Carlton. Beautiful move by Christian Bishop.
Wow. And that's where he has an advantage against Josh Carlton, is that footwork. He's a little undersized, but he makes up for it in the foot speed and footwork.
Adams with 13 to shoot. Cole, late in the shot clock now at 7. Now they got to do something. Gaffney on the baseline. Tough fadeaway for Gaffney. Offensive rebound ripped down by Tyrese Martin. That's offensive rebound number 15 for UConn in this game.
I don't know if they have just become accustomed to, to the perimeter UConn defensively, so they say we're going to stay out here. But that allows Christian Bishop to use all of the paint. I mean, basically saying, hey, here you go, big fella, get to you at the top, go to work.
UConn had 15 offensive rebounds against the Jays in that first meeting. 12 second chance points off those 15. They have 8 second chance points today. So one thing the Jays have done consistently is limit those second chance opportunities off those offensive rebounds. Gaffney, what a lead! Absolutely nifty. Sanogo with the flush, and Gaffney limping up the floor afterwards. Mahoney at the elbow.
Gosh, he's making assertive moves, efficient moves, not playing around with the basketball. Boom, boom, pull up from 15 feet.
Gaffney really hobbled as he comes over to get it from Sanogo. It's that left foot or ankle. 8 to shoot. Here's Cole. Gaffney gonna have to shoot on that bum wheel. Free, not gonna go, and Sanogo battling for the rebound.
Wow.
And a foul called on Christian Bishop, his 4th.
And he just made 1,700 fans sound like 17,000 with that call. I mean, I think that ball was out of bounds there, maybe even before the foul was called. But and Sanogo may have been off balance before Bishop was even in the area. Tough one.
17th foul to add insult to injury. 1-and-1 opportunity for Sanogo. 3 for 3 today, but he misses the front end. Gaffney off the floor after that stoppage in play. Jefferson turning the corner inside against Sanogo and a foul. Number 3 on the UConn big man.
They got to take a look at this foul down on the baseline right over here. This is a tough call for. It was a little bump, but I think the official Jeffrey Anderson may have been looking at the body and not the ball. I think if he would have looked down, he may have seen that that ball was out of bounds before the foul. That's a tough spot for an official to be in. There was some contact, there's no question, but when it occurred, I think is what the question would really have to be.
Sanogo, a little blood. They're going to send him off the floor. Dan Hurley was teed up early in this game. Was unhappy being told to have his bench sit down and thought the Creighton bench should sit down as well, and it carried on a little bit, and he got technical foul. So they'll tend to the blood for Adama Sanogo, and we'll remind you that Sunday, Fox Super 6 is giving you a chance to win $500,000 and Terry Bradshaw's other new shiny truck. Download the app now and enter now. It's free to play.
Cougs, I've never understood the sit-down thing with the bench. You know,
especially now, the benches are socially distanced back off the court in
there's no fans that
empty
you're
arenas.
Yeah, I never really understood it. I think the focus should be on the floor. They're not, you're right, and they're far enough away from the floor, too.
Well, in most of these arenas this year, Donnie, where does the energy come from? It comes from the benches. That's the only place the energy can come from.
Great point. So you want our bench to sit down and be quiet when there's really no one in the gym.
Right. I mean, it's one thing if you're shouting things you shouldn't shout, but if you're just yelling and encouraging, I think that should not only be allowed, but welcome. Crowd handling that here in Omaha. 4-point Blue Jay lead. Cole. Deep 2 is good, and Cole's strong afternoon in Omaha continues. He has 12.
Creighton's got it up to 51%. UConn's got to get back to that tough defense.
Oh, Zegarowski got an open 3, left it short, but gets his own. And the 2 falls for Zegarowski.
That's just not acceptable if you're Danny Hurley. The shooter gets his own shot, and then no one steps up, and he gets a 2-foot bunny. Can't happen.
Double shows out on Cole as UConn goes to work with Adams. Deep look from 3, and the rebound to Jefferson. Inside, Kalkbrenner, bucket and a foul. Whaley with the contact. Kalkbrenner Kalkbrenner to the line for one more.
It's a good call. You got to allow the player to come down. Whaley was pretty much just underneath him and fell. And I like this. He's going to come out this way. He's going to get his own miss, and then he's going to sneak in here, and no one steps up. I mean, looked like Adams got out of the way. You got to step in there, and that's that kind of fight and toughness, and you don't want to foul a guy or hurt a guy, but you got to be there for a teammate.
So now a 6-point lead, pivotal moment in this ball game as UConn finds themselves down 6, and Creighton starting to get a little offensive momentum. Sanogo against Kalkbrenner, and that's going the other way. Fourth foul for Sanogo and a timeout on the floor. 56-50. Big East battle in Omaha. Coming down to the wire once for 7 from 3 for the senior. 6th man of the year in the Big East a year ago. Tested the NBA draft waters. Just dipped his toe into the shallow end of the pool a little bit. Said
it was freezing cold.
Yeah, and said, I'm going to stay here.
It's a little nippy, so.
Jays are happy he's here today. He has been the offensive catalyst. 17 points. Jefferson with 10, the only other Jay in double figures. Zegarowski with 9, but 0 for 3 from deep. This is his 2nd game back after injury.
If you're Creighton, I think this is where you got to put the pedal to the metal. You know, start to extend this. You remember what happened the last time, and you're like, you know what? It took a couple of missed free throws by UConn to go into overtime.
Our hardest working player going back to work again. He'll go to the line after the foul on Josh Carlton, and that's his 4th. So 4 on Carlton, 4 on Sanogo, and those front court foul troubles that cropped up in the first half are back again in the second half for UConn.
Mahoney's a tough matchup too, because if you put a smaller guy on him, he's just so strong. Man, you can throw him down in the post if you want, and even if you don't, he just kind of bullies his way past him. And if you put a bigger guy on him, he's got the foot speed to blow by them, and that's how he's found success both ways. Stop short, he shoots a 3. Overplay him, he goes by you.
1 for 2 for Mahoney. 7-point lead. Jays have led by as much as 10 in this one. Here's Cole. Getting a little extra attention right now. Shot clock at 13. Nothing going so far for UConn offensively. Whaley. And he turns it over. Mahoney to the other end. Mahoney with the lay-in. And a 9-point advantage for the Blue Jays. And a timeout will be taken by UConn. of 18 for the Blue Jays in the second half, with Denzel Mahoney leading the charge. He's got 20 in this ballgame.
You're great. You have to start thinking, look, UConn's getting worn down. The fouls are starting to really pile up. Let's create some pace here. And I thought the way that UConn stayed in this game was controlling that by slowing it down. And Creighton's defense is doing the job late in that shot clock.
Sanogo in the paint. That one off the mark, and there's Mahoney with his third rebound.
Can't ask for better than that. Sanogo's really efficient down there. He just missed that one.
Well, Mahoney starting to hunt for a shot a little bit. It's Zegarowski with 15 on the shot clock. Will launch the three. Yeah, what a shot for Zegarowski. His first three, and Creighton enjoys its largest lead of the game.
They know how to pile it on. They feel you on your heels, and they have the shooters and the offensive sets to kind of put you deeper into that hole. UConn's got to find someone to help them dig it out.
And again, 5 to shoot. Nothing going offensively. Cole going to have to launch one. Gets rid of it instead to Whaley, whose three falls. Died on the back iron and gravity took over.
When you watch Creighton's players, their heads go back like, are you kidding me? How does someone else get a shooter's bounce in our building?
Entry to Kalkbrenner against Sanogo. Zegarowski. Now Martin will start it up for UConn. Can they get a bucket in transition? Adams will try. He will deliver. And here come the Huskies once more.
I know they want to slow it down, but I really think UConn has to, they got to push. They got to get something sooner in that clock. We know that. We got a game, folks. 6 points here in Omaha.
Jake from State Farm. If you here, this must be a State Farm commercial.
Sure is.
It also means it's about to go down.
Oh, don't worry, Chris. Things are going to go surprisingly great.
I've been doing this for too many years. It means something about to go down. Oh, no. Here it comes. Jake, protect yourself.
Have a nice day. I told you. Surprising. Just like State Farm's surprisingly great rates.
Who are you talking to?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The three-point shot's been hard to come by today, especially for Marcus Zegarowski. He's only making 5 attempts, but it's the three-point shot that's trying to bring UConn back. Isaiah Whaley with the three, and then after that kind roll on the rim, one more three in transition from Brendan Adams, and a lead cut in half from 12 to 6, which is where we are with 5:15 to play in Omaha.
A part of fighting and having toughness is digging yourselves out of a hole, but also to have the courage to take shots. You know, to take shots you may not be comfortable with. You know, when everything else is going perfectly, when you have your star in there, and someone's going to have to do that. Adams has done it. Cole has done it. Gaffney's done it.
There's Balak inside, and Balak, nice stop and push with the left hand.
Again, the spacing, the open floor, because of the shooting on the outside, UConn staying home, and that leaves that paint a little bit more open for guys to work.
Here's Adams. 8 on the shot clock. Adams again, leaving it for Whaley, and Whaley's 2 rebounded by Balak. Zegarowski turning the court all the way to the rim. Ten-point lead again. Here's Cole. He'll launch. A little step back. Bishop with 4 fouls grabs the rebound.
You get a sense Creighton has some pretty good confidence right now. That's a good jump to get that ball poked away from Balak.
Well, it's UConn that comes in with the reputation as the hard-nosed defensive team. The bat away by Whaley, but Balak showing he doesn't mind getting a little dirty in Omaha as well. We're confident as they take on this Villanova team. Of course, Nova had the long COVID shutdown. It's time for Above and Beyond, brought to you by Jersey Mike's Subs. Be a sub above and above and beyond. David Duke and Nate Watson leading the way for Providence coming up next with Colin Gillespie. And don't forget about Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. 15.5 points, 7 rebounds per game for Jay Wright's squad. Good one coming up. Gus and Jimmy on the call after we're done here.
Colin Gillespie is my MVP of the league. You know, most of the time you think MVP, they run, they dunk, they, you know, high flying, flashy. He's the anti-MVP in that regard, but he is solid, man, a winner.
5 to shoot. Jefferson going to have to make a move against Whaley. He will, and Whaley with the rejection. Jefferson. 2 blocks by Whaley and a shot clock violation a result.
I love Isaiah Whaley. He's just, I don't think he gets enough credit for his athleticism, how hard he works, and that is just tremendous defense. And then to stay with it, most guys would stop, think the job is done. Terrific work by Whaley.
He's one of the elite defensive players who can be in this league.
So athletic. It just doesn't get the credit, in my opinion.
UConn's going to have to find some offense. Down 10, 3 minutes to play in this ball game. Cole, and there's a screen on Brendan Adams. His 4th foul turns it back over to the Blue Jays.
No, we tell our kids nothing good happens after midnight. For UConn, nothing good happens after that shot clock gets under 10. I mean, just whether it's a turnover, a forced shot, I guess you can credit Creighton for that too defensively. They've handled it well.
Lob to Bishop. Bishop pinned by Whaley. 3 blocks in the last 2 trips down the floor for Whaley. And Whaley will launch from deep, trying to do it all. Rebound Jefferson. Huskies cooling off at the wrong time offensively. Mahoney off the fake. Bishop turns, finger roll, no. Offensive rebound, Bishop, and he'll go to the line. And that is the end of the afternoon for Adama Sanogo. His 5th personal foul will send him to the bench.
Look, in all fairness to Danny Hurley and UConn, they're missing a lot. And I know everyone knows about James Bouknight. We know about, we talked about a Cook, who was working his way back after the Achilles last year, bruised shin in practice this week. Andre Jackson, another terrific freshman for Dan Hurley. Athletic, 6'6", 210, can pass the heck out of the ball.
Top 50 recruit coming out of high school, and a guy who's close. He's been cleared for more work this week. He broke a bone in his left wrist. He's close to return, but his progress was stunted a little bit because he had the knee injury in the summer and had to have minor surgery, and so that slowed him up, and then the wrist. But you're right, that's another guy that UConn doesn't have on the floor that was just about ready when the injury happened to take that step, Dan Hurley thought. And again, not excuses in this league, but explanations.
Okay, every coach will tell you when you have really those 3 guys were supposed to be their core. And without them, it's night and day.
Cole turns the corner. Martin open from 3, and that falls. UConn with a glimmer of hope with 1:45 to play.
And all due respect to the players who are on the floor, they've worked their tails off. They've won some games without Bouknight and without a Cook and Jackson, but you need your entire team in this conference.
Bishop fouled by R.J. Cole, and Christian Bishop to the line. Good ball movement by the Jays to get it to Bishop.
Just throwing it perfectly because you see there's no one behind. And it's not just important for the player catching the ball to know what's behind them. It's more important for the passer to know what kind of pass to throw. You see nothing's behind, you can loft it up a little bit. So great recognition by Jefferson.
10-point game again. Told you earlier, Creighton has not lost back-to-back home games since January of 2019. And the 5th foul by Christian Bishop will send him to the bench here with 1:21 to go.
That's a bad call. Just because a player gets contact, and we were past that throwing the head back, and that considered a flop.
Right. That
should have gone the other way. That's to me not a good call. You run out, your hands are up. I mean, just take a look at this. This is, there's some contact. Where's the foul? That's a bad call. I'm sorry. I love our officials. I think they do a good job. But his head went, it was initiated by the offense. His head went back before there was contact.
And that can be called on an offensive player. If you throw your head back, it can be called a foul on the offensive player.
Absolutely. They're calling it so to get rid of that stuff.
Front end of the 1-and-1, no good for Cole. Zegarowski, the lob to Ballack. Here's Jefferson, fouled with 1:12 to play in a 10-point game.
Creighton, for as prolific as they are shooting that ball on the outside, they've missed 9 free throws. You know, that always fascinates me with teams who can really shoot from outside, struggle from the foul line.
Well, here's the thing with this. This is an odd Creighton game, and it looks like they're on their way to a win. Creighton did not shoot well from 3 today.
Yeah.
6 of 20 from 3. They're 18 of 27 from 2. And they're 16 of 25 from the line. So anything outside of essentially the logo in mid-lane has been deadly for Creighton. They haven't been able to get it done.
I guess maybe it's like golf. You know, the closer amateurs get, the harder it is to get the ball in the hole. It's easy to hit it far.
That's what I keep telling myself. Except for the hitting it far thing.
You got to have a short game in golf and in basketball. It's important.
1:04 to go in this second half. And UConn, barring a very late rally here, drops to 7-3 and 4-3. They've got a matchup next with Butler and then Villanova on Thursday. So the schedule compresses a little bit because you had the long December where games were postponed and changed with the impact of COVID-19, as we all know. But you've got Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Butler, Villanova at St. John's coming up in a very busy week for Dan Hurley's team.
But for Creighton, I can't tell you and just how important it is to have fans in the building. You know, one, because you won't find better fans in the Big East than here. I'm sorry, I know no one's going to tweet me because I don't have any social media. So if you have any problems,
they're going to go after me.
That's, But
could you tell Donnie this was the wrong thing he said here? No, I cannot.
But to have them back, it almost feels like, okay, maybe we're getting back to some normalcy in life when you see people in the stands. You feel it as a player. You want your fans to be here because they're a huge part of the college basketball experience.
I was on our Friends with FS1 last night doing Purdue, Michigan. We talked with Isaiah Livers, and he said the thing he misses the most is fans on the road. The road is what he missed as a player. He said that always got me excited.
Juice is going. Yeah, get you pumped up.
There's R.J. Cole back over to Gaffney. His 3 banks home. And the timeout used by UConn back within 8. 52.5 seconds remaining. The finish to this one from Omaha coming up on Fox.
Don't just do it yourself. Do it for yourself.
For this Creighton team, Donnie, as Marcus Zegarowski goes, usually that's how the Jays go. They're thrilled to have him back, second game back after the leg injury.
He looks mentally healthy to me. And I know physically, we know what he went through at the end of last season with the surgery. But your mind sometimes can be your worst enemy. He looks like he really believes he's back. And he understands, obviously, that his team needs him. But you're right, he looks bouncy. He's active, not second-guessing anything.
He came back from his latest injury on Wednesday in the loss of Providence. I was talking with Greg McDermott before the game. How's he feeling? As well, he felt good in practice, but we'll see how he feels in a game. I would say, even with the three-point shooting not where it normally is for Marcus at 1 for 5, that ability to turn the corner looks like it has been there at a higher level than it was on Wednesday.
The three-point shooting is always the hardest thing to kind of judge a player by, because he looks like, you're right, he's got bounce, he's reading, he's reacting, and defensively he's in good position. He's running hard, he's cutting. So it's hard. We can't base everything right on his three-point shooting. It just wouldn't be fair to any player, even three-point shooters. But I'm with you. He looks like he's back.
Which is not what anybody opposing Creighton wants to hear in this league right now, because he is a talent. And he's really the driver. The way he was playing at the end of last season was as high a level as anybody in this league. Cole going baseline. He'll bounce it out. Cole against Kalkbrenner. Spins past the big man. No, and the follow by Whaley brings UConn 2 points closer. Timeout called by the Huskies with 27.2 seconds to go in a 73-66 game. Well, tomorrow, a Super Bowl berth is on the line with the NFC Championship presented by TurboTax Live. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Pre-game coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. You talk about fans in stands. I happened to be in Lambeau last weekend where they had fans in the building, and that made a huge impact in that game against the Rams. The Hall of Fame quarterback matchup, 6 Super Bowl wins for Tom Brady, 9-3 record in championship games. Aaron Rodgers likely to add an MVP to that list this year. Who do you like here, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Aaron's going to get the MVP, so Tom Brady is the guy I'm going with. But you got to understand, I've lived in New England a long time.
That young man is not going to be happy with what you said in his Packer match.
And I love history. You know, the story of a guy who's collecting AARP is going to win I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. It tells you, it doesn't matter how old you are, anything is possible.
Is that what it tells you?
That's what it tells me.
I don't know that it tells you that any 40-year-old could roll on out and play football in the National Football League.
No, it says anything's possible.
Anything?
Anything is possible.
Okay, all right.
Because if someone told you he's going to be 43 and have a chance to get to the Super Bowl, what would you say? No, not possible.
Oh, if you told me it was Tom Brady, I would say yes, that's very possible.
I'm not telling you who it is. I'm just saying a guy.
Any random 43. So we pick a 43-year-old from here in Omaha and say you're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, he's got to put the time in.
All right.
I mean, come on, let's not get crazy here. He's got to put the time in.
Foul out. Able to get out of that trap to Kalkbrenner, and they foul the freshman post with 18.6 seconds remaining in the second half. Upcoming schedule for Greg McDermott, who may be trying to win his Super Bowl. I mean, he's above his 40s. He could get himself to.
He hasn't put the time in.
No, that's true.
10,000 hours, man.
Seton Hall on Wednesday. Then DePaul on the weekend. Georgetown, Marquette on Fox on February 6th. Then a rematch with Georgetown just 6 days later. And for UConn, good news coming out of the Butler program. They had a game postponed.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was a false positive in the COVID-19 regime. So Butler is back on, and that game is Tuesday. So Butler Tuesday, at Villanova Thursday, St. John's, Seton Hall, Providence.
That's considered a gauntlet.
UConn fans are saying, please, James Bouknight, get back soon. Look at that schedule.
Even with Bouknight back, that is a tough, tough schedule. You'd think because they were playing St. John's and you look at the record, but after losing to them already, now you got more respect for them. You're a little, hey, can't take anyone too lightly.
Gaffney with a deep three. And the rebound tipped around, controlled by Adams. Adams, under 5 seconds, another three off. Gaffney's two won't go. The ball game is over, and the Bluejays snap their 2-game losing streak. 74-66, a hard-fought win over the 23rd ranked UConn Huskies. 74-66 the final. Bluejays get the win. 11-4, now 7-2 in Big East play. UConn was game, but the Jays in the second half shot 58% from the floor to get the 74-66 win. For Donnie Marshall and our entire Fox crew, this is Kevin Kugler. We'll send you to Kevin Burkhardt in Los Angeles right after this. Blue Jays get the win 74-66 over the Huskies. You're watching Big East basketball.